The Wellness Show 216.
Welcome to The Wellness Show, a podcast on health and wealth. I'm your host, Tyson Bannigan, the founder of the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy. Join me as we get the latest insight, tips, and strategies from wellness providers, coaches, and successful, heart-centered entrepreneurs, and much, much more.
Welcome to The Wellness Show, and this is Tyson Bannigan, your host, the Energy Detective, the Illuminator, bringing you and humanity into the night. And today I'm pleased to have an interview with Sharifah Hardie, CEO of Crossroads TV. And the topic today is how to bring your ideas to life. Welcome to the show, Sharifah.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us a bit about who you are and why you're so passionate about this topic.
Who I am now is the CEO of Crossroads Television, but that's been a long journey. It's been interesting, it's been fun, but it's definitely been a long journey. I started off over 25 years ago when I built my first website in 1994. And even in 1994, what I realized was that the internet was the only place where you can work from home. But remember, in 1994, most people didn't even have computers in their home, well enough a website. So people told me I was crazy. They told me I was lazy and that I didn't want to work. And so it's been a journey to get here, but I always encourage people to follow their dreams and keep going.
Yes, so you've really had some ups and downs with regard to your dreams.
Absolutely, yes. Yes, absolutely. My book was entitled From Laid Off to Loving Life, and it talked about how I was laid off, and I've been laid off about 7, 8, 9 times. Who's counting at this point? And at first, I looked at it more as a tragedy. This is a loss. I'm not going to be able to find work. And then when I realized is that I was gaining so many skills from all the different jobs. So now when you look at my resume, people are like, wow, you have a resume of an engineer, because I have a plethora of just a lot of different skills. And so that's really what it has allowed me to do.
So Sharifah, when did you figure out it was not your job to fit in?
I think people figured that out for me. I think, that's really an honest answer. People figured that out for me because, when I was younger, it was more like, you're weird. You're a little different, but as I got older, I began to attract more people who, came to me with the, how do we do this? How do we do that? Because a lot of different things came so easy to me.
So you just had the ability to see the bigger picture.
Yes. I mean, I can say that, but I think to a certain extent for me to say that would be to just minimize the process of learning how to see the big picture. I think my main thing, and one of the things that I've learned over the years, is just simply that stick-to-itiveness. I never give up. I never keep going. And people always ask me that, that's one of the most often asked questions is, how do you keep going? And I always ask the question, what choice do I have? Like, if at any point in time, I would have stopped if I was given the opportunity. I always wanted to be an employee. At no point in time did I want to be a CEO, an entrepreneur, a business owner, anything of that nature. Business is easy for me. It comes natural, but it's not something that I want to do. I want to be an employee, go to lunch with my coworkers, get that check every other week or every week, and I would have stayed in that situation. But life, God, spirit, source, whatever you want to call it, continue to move me out of those situations so that I can one day come to this journey and, further on the journey as well.
Spirit wouldn't let you do that.
Yes. Yes. And that's the thing. And it has helped me. It has definitely helped me because there were so many people who I met along the way and they've come to me with their stories. My focus is business, especially business. They've come to me with their tragedies and everything that's happened to them. And they will say, Sharifah, you don't understand. You don't understand what I'm going through. I can't do this. I can't be a business owner or entrepreneur. And I'm like, if you only knew, I'm here through the grace of God. I'm here because of the challenges that I experienced. And those challenges made me stronger, but it also allowed me to relate to anyone who's starting their own business or taking that initial step.
What were the great obstacles that were presented to you? And what techniques did you get to get past it?
Everybody asks me about techniques. That's funny. It's like I'm like that simple country girl. I was raised in Columbus, Ohio. You know, that's really me. And so a lot of my mottos are just something your grandmother might have told you. And the thing that I tell my children is where there's a will, there's a way. I mean, every problem has a solution. It has to have a solution. I mean, there has to be a way. So I'm a wonderful problem solver. I love numbers. I know there has to be an answer. And thank God I do math really fast in my head, because I just know there has to be an answer. It has to be a way. And then in 2018, one of the things I even told my son wants to be a attorney. And he was like, Mom, I don't know if I can do it. And I said, okay, son, Google it. Find out how many people have become civil rights attorneys. And if they can do it, why can't you do it? I mean, that's the most beautiful thing, to have information, to have knowledge, because if someone has done it, why wouldn't you be able to do it?
Then become the model of how to do it, especially being a Black woman.
Yes.
As a woman, you can encourage every woman.
Yes.
That they can do it as well as you can.
Yes. Anybody. They don't have to be Black. They don't have to be a woman. I mean, there are so many people. I'm also a spiritual advisor and intuitive, and I speak to people of all races, all ethnicities. I just did a channel panel, intuitive session in an ashram last night. And these were a bunch of people from all races. So it doesn't matter who you are, what your background is. That's why I say I am one of those people who love America. I love America. God bless America, because it is one of the few places on this earth where you can be born rich and die poor. You can be born poor and die rich. It doesn't really matter, because you have the opportunity, you have the choice, and there's nothing, absolutely nothing stopping you but you. And that's one of the things I love to speak to people about. And they tell me all these reasons and all these instances why they can't do something. I'm like, that's a choice. Oh, no, but this happened. But that's still a choice. So whatever you're doing, whatever you're not doing right now in your life, it's a choice.
So you're no excuse woman.
Absolutely. That's why I tell people, when they want to work with me in any aspect, I'm more like the general. You know what I mean? No, suck it up. No, man, be crying. Get up and do it. I am not one of those coaches that kind of stand by you and, oh, it'll be okay. Oh, yes, I understand. Oh, you can't do it today because your head hurts. But at the end of the day, I don't even get emotionally attached to it, because it's not my business. It's your business. It's not my dream. Is your dream. I'm here to advise. I'm here to consult. I'm here as a friend to help you along the way. But at the end of the day, your success, your dream, your life is in your hands.
Tell me how you help people realize their dreams, especially through Crossroads.
Well, that's what I love to do. And that's really what I found is my passion. And so what I'm able to do is allow people to fulfill their dreams by producing their own television show. And so often people don't even realize that there is a way, there is an opportunity for them to actually have a television show on television. So there are people who have scripts, people who have show ideas, people who have been dreaming of breaking into Hollywood for years, but maybe didn't know how to do it, where to go with it, or even if they, maybe they're on YouTube, but they wanted to take it to major networks. So I'm like, okay, if you've ever really taken this serious, if you want to go into entertainment, we can help you. So that's why even on our website, if you visit the website, which is the letter X, so it's xroadstv.com, pronounced Crossroads. There's a link on the website with have an idea. So it's not just have a script, have a movie, have a television show. No, do you have an idea? Is there something that's a burning desire, a passion that you've always wanted to do? I love to be able to help people to bring those ideas to life.
When we talked previously, you were saying that you preferred that the idea wasn't fully formed, because you want to help people with the creative process.
Yes, absolutely. When we produce a show with a specific network in mind, because we know what that network is looking for. We know what kind of shows that network is looking for. We know the quality. We know each and every item that they're looking for. So we produce it from beginning to end with that network in mind. And sometimes people don't even realize that the reason they did not receive a network pickup is because that show idea that's a burning desire to you, that the network is not interested in. They're not interested in that type of show. And I was trying to explain this to someone the other day. It was so funny because they were like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, what does that mean? That's okay. Well, just think about it like this. If your passion, the thing you wake up every day for is to cook, you've gone to culinary school, you love making your favorite dish. All of your friends say your dishes are the best. Even their grandmother's cooking doesn't compare to what you're doing. Would you spend a lot of time, a lot of money, all your energy, all your resources, and this is going to take some time to produce and then pitch that show to ESPN? No, you really have to know, what networks are interested in, what they're looking for, what people are responding to. And you do that from beginning to end, from scratch, start to finish.
So you were saying that you like people to do a pilot or do maybe 3 shows that you can then market.
It's not necessarily marketing. Yes. What we do is sometimes what happens is people get excited, and I love excitement. That's one of the wonderful things that I've experienced over the years, because it's not just with the network, it's just in consulting in general. I always tell people I can usually help you save time and energy and money. Sometimes saving time, energy, and money is almost as important as helping someone to make money. Because what happens is a novice in any industry, they get excited. They go out, they're like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to produce this show. I'm going to get some actors together. I wrote this script and I'm just going to do it. It's the Nike, just do it philosophy. But what they don't understand is that things have to be done in a certain way. Your business has to be set up in a certain way. Your television show has to be set up in a certain way. And sometimes if you use your resources to produce 8 to 13 episodes of a show, and maybe the network isn't interested in a certain aspect of that show, you've wasted a lot of time and resources, when if you just do either a pilot or a sizzle reel that we can take to the networks, everybody saves time and money, because it takes, to do 8 episodes, 10 episodes, you're going to be spending a lot of money. And guess what? Maybe you produce 11 episodes and the lead actor, who's the host of the show, doesn't resonate with the audience, but you've already filmed him. It's not like you can just recast him. In order to recast him, you would have to start from scratch. And I was like, okay, let's work on it. Let's give them a little bit, give them a little taste of what you're doing. And that way, if they need to make any changes, they can say, you know what? I really love the show. I really love the idea. I really love the topic. I really love what you're doing. And that's in all networks. I can tell you this right now as an absolute, is very few instances when a network just takes on a show. And that's for major networks, 2 major networks. It doesn't matter who's producing it. It's part of the whole network industry, is they're going to make some change because they want to make it in their flavor. So maybe they love the entire show idea. It was produced on Venice Beach in Los Angeles, California. And the network says, you know what? I got a Miami feel, for this show. I think it's really hot. I think it's really great. But let's do it in Miami. 11, 12 episodes later, that's a lot of work, because you've already filmed the entire episode or the entire series at Venice Beach. When if you just said, hey, take a look at my show, take a look at my sizzle, take a look at least a pilot, because if we do a pilot, at least the networks can run that pilot and see what kind of response they receive from it. But if you have episodes produced in their entirety and no network pickup and no relationship with the networks, it's just money that's literally sitting on the shelf.
I have a lot of friends that are doing the pay-for-play approach, and that seems like, you're going to produce a lot of shows and not know whether the network really wants them or not. And you're saying that's probably not the best way to go.
Right. But let's go back a little bit towards the jargon and the verbiage. A pay-to-play model is a different business model altogether. And you'll find that the major networks, because again, we're just like when you look at baseball, or basketball, you have to separate the minor leagues from the major leagues. So when I'm speaking directly about the major networks, and the major networks absolutely do not have a pay-to-play model, because at the end of the day, they don't need your money. You can come to them with $500 million and they're going to say no on your project, whether it's good or bad, because they may just feel like, oh, I don't even know you. Why are we just going to take, all this money? This money could have came from anyway. So Hollywood is invitation only. When people understand that Hollywood is invitation only, then it makes a little bit more sense. So a pay to play model is going to be on a different network. And that's great if you want to pay $20,000 or so to pay to see the response. But also with the pay to play model, you're not only paying for them to air your show, which means broadcast your show, but you also pay for production out of pocket. So you're just saying, hey, I have the money, I'm gonna do what I have to do, and let's make it happen. With the major networks, it's going to take time, it's going to take a lot of work, it's going to take relationships in order for you to get that invitation. And once you get the invitation in the door, then you can utilize your resources to produce what you have to produce. But you cannot walk into a pitch meeting and say, hey, I have $50,000, so take my show, I'm paying you, so I have to play. That attitude would get you blacklisted in Hollywood.
Is there any crossover from pay to play to real TV, like what you're talking about?
I mean, the pay-to-play model is real TV. I don't want to knock it. I mean, this is the thing that people do not understand. We understand to a certain extent, but there are kids, literally children, who are making millions of dollars on YouTube. It doesn't have to be pay-to-play. It doesn't have to be major networks. At the end of the day, do it. Start from somewhere. If you want to produce something and you want to see what the response is, my first video that I did, my first commercial, which is actually still on YouTube right now, I paid $1,000 in roughly 2008 to have a guy produce a 30-second commercial. Now in 2018, there's no way I would spend $1,000 on a 30-second commercial. I spent a couple of dollars, get the content that I need, and move forward. But when I look at that commercial, it was professionally edited. It had a continuous theme. But right now, it sits on YouTube, and right now it has so many views, so people are able to see where I started from. Then they see my interview with Patti LaBelle. That was my first on-camera interview, and then they see some of the things that I'm doing now. So if you really just want to test it out and you're not absolutely sure, I would definitely recommend, a YouTube or a Hulu type model. See what the response is, because what you want to do in Hollywood is the same thing that I recommend as far as publishing. Most publishers or agents, if you go to them, they're going to ask you one thing. They're going to say, what is your following? And most people don't have a large following. But I always tell people, if you have hundreds of thousands of people who follow you, if you have millions of followers, then what do you need an agent for? If you have, hundreds and millions of followers on YouTube, then hey, you may not even need the major networks. You may not need, a pay-to-play model. What you're doing is obviously working for you, because again, just through the use of AdSense, there are children, skateboarders. I've seen skateboarders, who they get on YouTube, and because why they do it? They do it because it's fun, and fun is the energy of manifestation. If you're having fun, the people who are watching will most likely have fun. And I always tell people, it doesn't matter what your service is, what your product is, there's an audience for you. You can't look at it and say there's too much competition, this industry is too saturated. No, if you're having fun, you're enjoying what you're doing, there's somebody who will resonate with you.
Yeah, I agree with you. With the head of Hay House,
yes,
he's saying if you don't have 35,000 on your email list, they won't even talk to you.
Yes.
So I understand that.
But if you had
But it's-
35,000 on your
Go ahead.
email list, but seriously, if you, and this is no disrespect to Hay House, not even naming them, because that's typical. That's not something specific to Hay House. It's very typical. But I always tell people, you did the hard work. You did the legwork to reach 35,000 on your email list. If you did that, unless you just bought a list for 35,000 and these are all bouncing emails, if you did the work, if you develop those relationships, all you have to do is go to a website like createspace.com, which is the sister company from Amazon, publish your book and market your book. I mean, you can go through an agent, but again, usually they're going to want to know about your following.
Right. Sharifah, it seems like one of your passions was doing interviews. Before you got into being a producer.
Yes.
Tell me about your show. What's your passion?
I love to help people, but then there's also an aspect of me of where I say I'm going to help people on my terms. And so I launched my first radio show in 2009 for a couple of reasons. One of the main reasons is I went to the Los Angeles Convention Center and I wanted to speak to people about marketing and design and website design and online marketing and SEO. And people literally just laughed at me. They were like, oh, no, what can you tell us about any of those things? Even though I was page 1, position 1 on Google as a professional business consultant, they didn't want to speak to me. So I said, okay, I'll start my own radio show. Plus I had quite a following in my network who called or emailed or inboxed or Yahoo at the time, Yahoo Instant Messenger, and they began to ask me the same questions. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do a radio show 1 hour a day, every day, Monday through Friday, and I'm going to answer all these questions all at once. So by doing it on a radio show, people have the opportunity to call in and ask their questions. I would answer any question they had. It didn't matter. As long as it was a serious question, as long as it was a business question, let's talk about it. The other reason is for business owners, there really isn't an outlet or a place where business owners can go to ask questions. I mean, business to me is one of those things, just like spirituality to a certain extent, where there's a certain, veil of secrecy. Because if I know how to get to the top of the search engines, I may not want to teach you how to get to the top of the search engines, because guess what? I may look up tomorrow and you're number 1 and I'm number 8. And then I'm like, okay, wait a minute, maybe I shouldn't have told everybody how to do that. So a lot of people have that mindset. And I've never had that mindset. I've always said, look, if we work together, that's why the people in my network have genuinely been with me since the early 2000s, if not the 90s, because I always help people and share information. I mean, a lot of my friends to this day have that joke. I don't know, ask Sharifah, because I'll give them the information, and that's my website, AskSharifah.com, and I'll give them the truth as I know it.
I love that, and I agree with that too. I've created this network of light for people who need a healing. Give them a hand up.
Yes.
Why should I send people to you? I'll be losing business. Is that what you're thinking about?
Yes, but that's a lack mentality. When you have a lack mentality, you believe there's only enough. I went to a seminar the other day, and I went because of a really great friend of mine. I love her to death, but it was a seminar where the guy was having this lack mentality, and he was trying to get people to sign up in his business. And he was telling people, you got to sign up in my business, because if you don't, there's not going to be any retirement. We're going to run out of money. There's not going to be enough. So the only thing you can do is you can A, find a second job, B, go back to school, or 3, join our company, because if you don't, you're not going to have any money. And I'm literally sitting in my seat, fighting every urge in my body to just get up and leave. But I didn't want to be rude. I didn't want to be disrespectful. But, I just said, you know what? I do not receive that. I do not receive that into my spirit at all. There's more than enough. There's one of my favorite lines from Howard Hewitt, Say Amen, is there's cattle on 1,000 hills. You know what I mean? That's what people don't understand. There's more than enough. But if you have a lack mentality, if you have a us against them mentality, then but that's going to show up in your life. Abundance is about having unlimited amount. And if you have an unlimited amount, then there's more than enough for you. There's more than enough for me. When we have our field rather, then there's going to be more than enough for everyone else. And I think as a society that I do not want to get on my soapbox, but I do believe as a society, we buy into that there's not enough. We have to create jobs. We have to realize that there's more than enough for everyone, more than enough for everyone to eat, everyone to create their own business. There's more than enough for everyone to have what they need to survive.
I agree. And there's more than enough than we ever imagined.
Yes.
If we did it together.
Absolutely.
Because it multiplies.
Absolutely.
I am there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But that shows in your attitude. You know what I mean? I believe God blesses what you put your hand to. So, if you're not prospering, if you're not building wealth, what is it that you need to look at? And maybe it is your mentality. It could be your mentality, but it could also be, maybe you sleep all day. I don't know what the situation is, but I always tell people it's a choice. Whatever it is definitely a choice. And success for some people means a lot of different things. Success isn't a dollar amount. To me, it's a level of just being happy in your life, enjoying your life. To me, that's success. So there's definitely more than enough to go around, and there's more than enough to share. And most importantly, I believe it's more than enough for us who have been doing this for some time to turn around and pay it forward to people who are just starting out. I love working with the youth. I love working with new entrepreneurs so I can use the information and the knowledge that I've gained over the last 25 years to help someone else.
What are some of the new shows that you have a great passion for?
Oh, one of the new shows. I have quite a few shows. Right now, we have 6 shows that are slated for production, and we just signed 3 new NDAs this week, non-disclosure agreements, to go into talks for 3 new shows, and I'm excited about those. But one of my passion projects is the show we're in pre-production for, and that's City on Fire. City on Fire is just amazing. It's the first show I had to do. I'm so passionate about it, and what we're going to do over the 10-12 episodes is we're going to go to different cities across America that are literally on fire or figuratively have been on fire. So whatever's going on in that city, we're definitely going to focus on it. And so this is, there's more information on our website. Again, it's the letter X and then rhodestv.com. Take a look at the website. Take a look at City on Fire. I'm definitely passionate about it because it starts right here in my city. Yes, I own this city in LA. And the reason that I'm passionate about it is because, as a young African-American female growing up in South Central Los Angeles, I should be a statistic. According to most people, I should be a statistic, whether that's being on drugs, whether that's being incarcerated, whether that's being, whatever it is, I should not be, according to statistics, the CEO of my own television network. And so I like to go in and focus on Los Angeles. So the first episode is going to focus on the city of Los Angeles. And I'm definitely passionate about what I can do to help this city.
Well, that's amazing.
Yes.
Truly amazing.
Thank you.
I just want to get back to you and ask you, what sort of obstacles did you have in your life? Gave you that oomph to go through the barrier? I know you said that you came from a simple background, but you could have just stopped. Mm-hmm. But you went forward.
It's my faith. Everything to me comes down to my faith. And I can share, I've been through a lot. I've been married and divorced twice. I've been homeless twice. I think twice. Once I go through it twice, I learned my lesson. But I've been through a lot of different things, but it was my faith, because I always said each and every time, I said, God, you didn't bring me this far only to bring me this far. You know what I mean? To me, it would have been like going into a dark tunnel, not to come out on the other side. I'm like, if you're halfway through, 3/4 through, almost through, then just keep going, because there's a reason, there's a purpose, because everything that I do, I'm led to do. So if I'm led to do that, I know there's a reason, there's a lesson. Even with my marriages, I learned that lesson. And the lesson wasn't not to get married again. The lesson was to make better choices going in, instead of just saying, I love you, you love me, let's do it. You know what I mean? Let's look at the compatibility. Let's look at what this looks like long term. You know, what kind of life this person wants, as opposed to maybe I want a different type of life. But I also know, you know, being an entrepreneur is very difficult, very difficult. So I'm grateful and praise anyone who can be married to an entrepreneur, because an entrepreneur has a very different spirit. We don't get up and look forward to going to a 9-to-5. A 9-to-5 can kill our spirit, you know. So there were definitely plenty of times in both marriages where I was unemployed, you know, and they said, okay, you're going to go look for a job. And I'm like, no, I'm not looking. I'm going to do this my way, you know. And when the rent is due or the bills have to get paid, you know, it's very difficult to understand that if you're not the one who's going through that. You know, being homeless, that was difficult, you know, staying in hotels that the County of Los Angeles had given to me. But I would just stay in those hotel rooms with my laptop and God. That's all I had. I would sit there, I would work on my laptop and continue to build my business. I would host my radio shows from a hotel room that I got from the county, you know, from the city of LA, because I knew that if I just kept going, just keep going, baby girl. That's what I would tell myself. If you just keep going, there's a reason. But what happens is, especially in business, people don't want to sacrifice. They want it to come easy, and nothing worth having comes easy. That's the one thing that I can tell you. And so that I always would say, God, I know you didn't bring me this far, only to bring me this far. And it was really just God's grace, because I spent the last 5 years working for a television network. And in working for that television network, I would always say, why am I here? Why am I in this situation? I would leave, I would quit, I would go. And for whatever reason, I would come back. But I would learn so much. And then when I finally walked away from that company in March of 2018, what I realized, and it was almost like a eureka moment, was that, hey, I have the blueprint. I got the blueprint. I know how to build a television network. I built it from, you know, beginning to end, from helping with the business plan to designing multiple websites, all the PR, writing the press releases, online marketing, taking the social media from 0 to over 26,000 Facebook fans. It was something that I knew how to do. So I'm like, okay, now that you have the blueprint, you can do it for yourself. And not only did I have the blueprint for a television network, I found I also had the relationships. And in Hollywood, just like in business in general, it's relationships. I always tell people, it's not who you know, but who's willing to admit that they know you, you know. So I can get on the phone with a lot of different people, celebrities, you know, just people in entertainment, producers, and they know Sharifah Hardie. So it's a beautiful thing. You know, I've been in business for 6 months right now. I'm still growing. I grow every day, but I'm actually getting to the point of my business is stabilized. It's growing, it's expanding. We have new shows coming. So I'm happy. I'm at a very great place in my life.
Well, it's great to interview you. Who do you like to work for you as a potential client or in your business?
Positive people. I know that may sound so, I told you, I'm a simple country girl. That may sound cliche, that may sound, but I love positive people. I love I do everything in a weird kind of way by a process of elimination. So the people who I work with are, you know, they haven't been eliminated in some form or fashion. And the person who I eliminate the fastest is someone who finds a problem for every solution. You know, they ask me a question. I'm like, oh, let's do this. Let's do that. Oh, Sharifah, we can't do that because I'm like, okay, wait a minute. You know what I mean? Like, let's figure out how to do it. Where there's a will, there's a way, you know, but somebody who sits there and tells me in business or in production, all the reasons why this isn't possible. You know, the word impossible itself says I'm possible. Everything is possible, especially when you have God in your life. Everything, all things are possible, you know. So I love people who say, because that's how I am. You know, I'm raising right now, I'm offering 5 million shares of stock at 50 cents per share, which gives me a $2.5 million raise. And I only need a fraction of that to do what I want to do. But I talk to potential investors, some actually, you know, some who become investors. But when I speak to them, I have more of a, if you're not going to do it, then move out the way, because somebody is going to close this IPO out. Somebody is going to close this offering out. So if not you, then it's someone. But at no point in time am I going to sit back and say, oh, this can't be done. I can't do it. We raised between $7 and $10 million before. I've done it before. We've done it before. So there's no one who can't tell me that if you set your mind to something, that it cannot be done. So if you mention the word can't in a sentence to me, I'm not going to work with you. Aside from that, if you have a positive attitude, if you're willing to work, hard work, that's why I'm a recluse who works from home. I work 7 days a week. 7 days a week. And I know people are like, how do you do that? And it's because my phone never stops ringing. There's not like I can just say, oh, I took 3 sick days. No, because business happens. Business has to go on. So my phone continues to ring. I get an email. I get an invitation. I'm like yours that I'm so grateful for. If someone wants to do an interview, I get up, I do what I have to do and make it happen. So there's so many people who make excuses. I'm like, don't make excuses, make it happen. And so I love working with those people. I love working with people from production side who are open to constructive criticism, who hear, you know, because we have a wealth of experience, not only in entertainment, but in business. My focus is on marketing. So when I look at anything, I tell people everything comes down to marketing. So when I take a look at a show, I'm not only looking at it from the production aspect. That's not even my forte. That's my partner. I love to death, Marvin Williams, who's, you know, just taking over Hollywood right now. He looks at everything from a production aspect. I look at everything from a business, from a marketing aspect. Is this something that people are going to watch? Is this something we're going to be able to market? Is this something that has something unique, something interesting, something we can spend to get followers for? So just people who are just really willing to work, you know, as you know, I've dealt with people over the years in just different instances. I remember at one of my jobs, and I was working with a young lady, and she was young, she was new on the job, and we were raising a lot of money. And I said, you know what, we need some more ideas. It's Friday night. And I said, come, you know, think about it over the weekend, come back on Monday and let me know what ideas you have. And she said, I'm not getting paid to think. She was let go on Monday morning. And the funny thing is, she really doesn't even know that it was that statement that she made that killed the whole opportunity. Because I said, you know what, you don't get paid to think over the weekend. So you're not going to think about the company if you're not getting paid. Yet this is the company that's paying your bills, that's paying for everything that you need to do. But you don't want to think about it. I said, okay, well, then maybe we don't want to think about you.
Wow. I've got to say, you got a fire in you.
Go,
I love the fire in your eyes and fire in your spirit.
Well, thank you.
You're most welcome. So as we wrap this up,
Yes.
This is the lady. Wrap this up.
Your ideas.
Bring your ideas to life.
And
no excuses.
I'm accessible. Give me a call, 562-8220.
For quality online wellness products, courses, and services, visit our sponsors, thewellnessstore.ca and the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy located at thewellnessacademy.ca. To stay in touch, visit us at thewellnessshow.ca. And until next time, be healthy, wealthy, and wise.